crab people, blue heavy metal people. Green people, crab people, blue heavy metal people. Green people, crab people, blue heavy metal people.
Hey there, this is Malorian, and this will be another War Machine Wednesday Battle Report. And it's actually the season finale. And this one's going to be a crazy one, because on this side for Scorn, we have Xekaar with a whole bunch of Cyclopses. And on the other side, we have Legion with their Kryssa, new Warlock, and a whole bunch of Nephilim. So a whole bunch of, theme here and light war beasts all over. And I actually have here Dorian, the Scorn player, join me. So Dorian, how's it going?
Hello.
Glad you could join me with this one. I tried recording this one myself, but this one really is a crazy one with all these, new warlocks and all this. I'm really happy you're here to join me. But can you just give me a little bit of a backstory of what started this battle?
Okay, so ever since I got into Scorn, through Mark 1 and Mark 2, me and Mark have always had the debate of which is better, Nephilim versus Cyclops. So we've had a couple of these games. This one's now with the brand new casters Brian suggested, because this is just after lock and load, trying the two new casters out. So Mark kind of got a little bit of the shaft here. Kryssa is far more of a troop caster than she is a war beast caster, and Xekaar is a very excellent war beast caster.
Yeah. And so one of the things, like when you were playing these before, what were some of the warlocks that you and Mark were taking?
I don't know what Mark was thinking about taking. Probably he's on a big Abbey 2 thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking Rasheth or Naresh. I played Naresh a couple times through Mark 2 with Cyclops Swarm. But Rasheth, with his ability to block animuses now, was one of the key things that I was looking for.
Absolutely, yeah. Now, another thing you guys added in the end is that you could each take 2 units, and I think Legion got the advantage on this one here.
Yeah, so the discussion was fill as much of your army list with Cyclopses or Nephilim, and then you can have a couple support units, because it is really hard to run that many beasts. So I ran Pain Givers. Apparently, according to Mark, Hellmouths are support.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But they're definitely right up there and causing a lot of issues. So, Legion, turn 1, they really just ran right up there. A couple of the Nephilim going to the bottom, but it really is just these tentacles everywhere, and then the main base of them all there in the center. So you need to come in here now, and you're getting some pretty good shots on them, eh?
Yeah, so my goal was to use my 2 raiders to be able to get shots onto the big Hellmouth piece, because they're taller, they're bigger, so I'm getting the +2 damage, and I have excellent range to them. However, my dice rolls kind of flub. Mm-hmm. I get really poor on the first one, so I opt, especially with the Imperious Flesh. So I decided to go after Zuriel, and I just put a huge chunk of damage to him, 8 to 11 points, and that kind of changes how a lot of the game plays out in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to try to field them to both take out one Hellmouth at a time, but I went second, and Mark just spread them out as far as he could.
Gotcha, yeah. After you cranked that, or I don't know if it was really more of a crank, but after you did all that damage to Zuriel, did you kind of wish you would have shot at the Hellmouth instead?
A little bit. The Hellmouths play a definite big part in this game.
Mm-hmm. And if you could just take out the mouth, then everything disappears. But
yeah.
Man, they are a real pain for 6 points. So you're kind of doing the same thing where you got a couple of your Cyclopses on the bottom, but most of it in the center. And we got this real standoff here where it's just kind of these tentacle monsters in the middle. So we're on to Legion turn 2. And, he's going to start getting some tentacles in your face. But, if it wasn't for the tentacles, how do you think that this game would be going down?
Probably with me shooting out Zuriel turn 1.
Yeah, just Raiders pew pew, there you go.
Yeah, I was actually expecting him to bring some shepherds for fury management.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't bring those. Brought in the Hellmouths, which definitely altered how the play went. Train and pre-measuring were big in this game. There's lots of train out there, which I absolutely love. Even that bit of water that really kind of hampered what I was planning on doing. But you have to roll with those punches.
That's one of the things. I always know whenever Dorian comes over, I should put on another 3 or 4 pieces of terrain, because he likes these more themed battles. I was actually wondering with the 2D forest if you're going to kind of poke at me for that, because you want a 3D forest. But it's good to be able to kind of see things on the camera and move about. But right now, you kind of did some more damage to him, right? And so he's trying to come back here. And so it looks like for the most part, he's taking some shots back. What is he really shooting at there right now?
So his 2 bolt throwers are trying to kill off my 1 raider. The one raider that took a shot at Zuriel and did a big chunk. We've already discussed what the major plan is, which is me to wipe out the 2 Hellmouths using my raiders.
Mm-hmm.
And pre-measuring's a big thing. We are pre-measuring to make sure that we are not in each other's charge ranges. So
Yep.
It's a lot of cowardice of, I'm hiding behind the building, she's hiding behind the building.
Well, it seems here too that if he can take out your your raiders right away, that he has a pretty big advantage because he can still hold you back with the tentacles and just keep on shooting, and then you're forced to come up and engage.
Yeah. Xekaar's feat is a very powerful, defensive feat. It's very similar to Denny's. -3 strength, -3 mat, -3 rad, -3 threshold. And so I would have loved just to rush all my stuff to the center and forced him to either give up on scenario or eat the alpha charge. One of those things.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't give it to me, and the Hellmouths are part of that reason. It's just I have to play around them.
And what's the Legion feat for this new Warlock?
So Legion 3 is +3 strength, and it causes damage, or fire damage.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of her abilities on the back of her card is just, setting things on fire, getting extra damage with fire.
And so you really probably want to do that with a lot more troops, and you don't want kind of more just on these guys with a couple of few attacks type thing, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what you get for taking Hellmouths, right?
That's right.
It was karma. So right there now, you can see on the Legion turn, he kind of had his guys go up there, the tentacles that kind of get in your face. I was kind of wondering if he was going to start going over to his own zone there in the back to try and score on there. Zero, because that big hit he took, so you have to pull back just to keep him alive and heal up. And I was kind of wondering if he was going to move in there and start scoring. Were you kind of worried about that, or was he kind of threatened if he went behind where the tentacles are?
Yeah, so one of the big things in this game was we were measuring each other's threat ranges constantly. Mm-hmm. So he knew that I could get Malakharn to him. And Malakharn, not as awesome as Mark II, but still everyone has that fear of him from Mark II, where he just gets to places and murders your caster without trying.
Yeah, and I mean, Xekaar doesn't really do anything to extend that. It just makes you kind of hit harder, or more so that they're debuffed so you can hit them a lot harder.
Yeah.
So he doesn't need to worry too much about you going too far, rushing across the table or anything, but still pretty big damage. Anyway, at the bottom here now, you're starting to go up against those tentacles. So what's kind of going down this turn?
My 1 savage walks up, kills off the majority of the tentacles, and I'm leaving the 1 there. I can't really remember the exact reasoning what I was going for. The other 2, I have 2 savages going up to the very top in hopes that I will be able to get those savages into the Hellmouth.
Now, those 2 there, clearly with the Hellmouth and the tentacles, you have to worry about them pulling you in. Did you have to kind of maneuver any differently to try and mitigate for that, or you just have to kind of accept, he might pull something in? I
had to accept that he might pull something in, which is why I brought 2 of them.
Okay. Yeah.
So one's hiding behind the other one, so that I can get to it. At the very bottom, though, I kill off the Hellmouth relatively quickly, taking it away, and then he ends up having to use a soldier to hold the zone. So at the very bottom, there's a soldier, which is just a proxy base,
mm-hmm.
a bolt thrower, which is hiding behind the building, and a bloodseer. Our forces are very similar, except for I do have more savages because they are cheaper.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, it looks like you're starting to slowly kind of chip away at the bottom, like you said. Getting through the Hellmouth is pretty huge, because now you can actually bring the fight to him. But otherwise, how do you kind of see this right now for the battle for the top and the battle for the bottom? Is it really just kind of still like a standoff?
It's very much a standoff at this point. I have to take care of that Hellmouth, so you can't just stop my guys from charging in.
Mm-hmm.
At the very bottom, I figure I have this handled. I'll be able to move a couple of my guys over in a little bit and take care of that soldier and that bolt thrower, which is why I kind of position them in a very strange way. So that I have 1 savage getting healed up, the other savage ready to go if he decides to commit his soldier to either one of them.
Gotcha. So another thing here that happened that was kind of unfortunate is I can't remember if it was this turn of the Legion turn or not, but we got a good way through the turn until I realized that the clock was never set over. So that's going to be pretty bad. I mean, if we had any idea, we could maybe try to account for it. But how much time do you think was lost on that?
Anywhere between like 5 to 10 minutes. Me and Mark play each other all the time, so clock is not usually a factor.
And yeah, because you didn't really stop and want to say, like, oh, how can we fix this? It's more kind of like, okay, let's just keep going. It wasn't no big deal.
Yeah. So right now, Mark is trying to figure out how he's going to use the Kryssa's feet to kill off as much stuff as he can. I don't think he feels like he's going to be able to get to a lot of my stuff, and if he does, it's just going to be trying to counter out my feet.
Mm-hmm. So might as well try and pop it first to get some use out of it.
Yeah.
Do you feel it was going to be better for him to hold the feat so that it counteracts that minus to him on your turn from like your feat, or is it better to pop it first here and get the alpha?
I think it would have been better if he waited and holded it off to counter my feat. I mean, as much as it makes it really hard to hit stuff, you're going to be able to reliably do damage and then set my stuff on fire.
So right now he's continuing to shoot your guys down. Are those bolt throwers starting to take out any of your guys here?
No, he's just doing a couple points of damage. I think he eventually takes down the one raider at the very front.
Mm-hmm.
Right now he's using those tentacles to grab onto that red raider up at the very top.
Okay, yeah.
Or red savage at the very top, rather. And he's going to drag me in.
I almost kind of wish that you still had the Mark II where you could hold hands and just do, weapon lock to your own guys. I guess you can't do that here with your Cyclops anyway, but...
Yeah, no open hands.
No open hands. I wonder if that's something, too, where if Hellmouse would have been in Mark II, if people would have actually thought it was that big of a deal. They're still really damn good, I guess.
They're really good. I mean... It's one of those things like locker on the Centurion Mark II kind of prevent, your goal was to prevent that by lockering your own stuff into other people, right?
Mm-hmm. So right now you can see how the one Savage was pulled in, and so must have taken some damage already from being brought in and biting from the mouth there and stuff. And now it looks like he's trying to line it up so that he can get Zerial there. And I think it's more so of a fact where he wants to make sure that Zerial will be within the control range to be forced and so far.
This is entirely about making sure that his feet reaches.
Oh,
he's hiding behind that one building. You don't ever see her for the most part. So he's hiding behind that one building, and I kind of pointed out, well, you're just kind of short. So we ended up having a bit of a discussion and moving some stuff around, because that was his intention, was to be into range, and if he had moved the Hellmouth a little bit closer the previous turn, it would have been fine.
So now one of his Nephilim, is that a soldier that's going after you right now?
Yeah, so he kind of flubs his roll, and so he sends a soldier after the guy at the very top to kind of deal with him.
And is he going to take it out here, or?
I don't think he takes it out here. It's a gray one, not a red one.
Okay. Look at all the
colors.
So what else is kind of going on from right now? What else was he able to take out or do with his feet?
So he does do a couple more points of damage to a couple of my guys using his strength, but his dice rolls kind of miss here or there, and just isn't doing the damage that he's looking at getting done.
And right now he's trying to measure something down there. What's the big deal that they're trying to measure down there?
Oh, he's trying to make sure that he's in range of my Cyclops.
Oh, okay, to keep on hacking away with the Blood Seer.
So yeah, Zerial comes up. He's getting ready to kind of go after me.
Yeah, so now we're back to your side. Or no, he's still attacking you. He must have sprayed you down. Because you just lost your guy after Zero. So did Zero spray you there?
Yeah, Zero. I think we had the Boro measure, but yeah, he just manages to kill the that front raider there.
Gotcha. Okay. So this is back to your turn now, and so now this is after his feat. So you're probably thinking this is your feat turn.
Yeah. So now my goal is to just rush everything, get it up front as much as I can, take out a couple of those tentacles, try to get some damage onto his guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then survive the next turn because everything is just so crippled by my feet.
Yeah, so I mean, like right now, all these tentacles must be a lot easier to try and kill. And I mean, anything that's going to be down there in the bottom zone, because there's still, a soldier and the Blood Seer that's in the zone there. So those should be not too bad to kind of go after.
Yeah, and so I send in one of my Cyclopses at the very top to kind of go deal with... yeah, this is me measuring where my feet's going, getting all ready to go.
And that pre-measuring must be helping so much.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of the game is, well, how far is your threat range?
And at least in this one here is more fair, like you're saying, where your threat ranges are pretty much the same. When you got one side that has an extra 2 inches or something like that, it gets to be sometimes a little bit unfair, but...
Yeah. So I'm going... This is where I make a huge mistake.
Okay.
I go after his Hellmouth. I probably could have done, maybe went after Zuriel, went after the soldier that's up there, or the objective.
Mm-hmm.
And my dice just decide that they don't want to work for me.
Yeah. Do you figure the dice would have been enough if you would have gone after the objective?
Well, I think so. It's auto-hitting. He's hitting at a POW 15, so only -3.
And you're not the -1 dice anymore, so I mean, that's going to help out for sure.
Yeah.
And you also had another one that kind of went there near the building. So what's that guy attacking there in the middle?
So that guy's attacking a soldier. I'm pretty sure I kill it.
Okay, yeah. So attrition-wise right now, what are we kind of looking at this point?
Yeah, so I've lost one savage and a raider. He's lost a soldier. No, it's a bolt thrower that I end up killing right away.
Mm-hmm.
A soldier and a couple of other his Hellmouth, and everything just has tons of damage on it.
Okay,
all
so
my guys are pretty well for themselves.
So, I mean, apart from time, things are looking pretty good for you. Because, I mean, the attrition is on your side. He's now having to try and counter in your feet. So, not too much is probably going to happen there.
Yeah. I moved Malakarn up a bit so that unless Zuriel completely runs away, I'm getting deep into his area.
Well, yeah, well, you pretty much just threatened the entire board. I mean, the only thing that's really holding back Malakarn is just that water. That's the only thing. Otherwise, he's ruling the entire middle of the board. So it looks like now we're still dealing a little bit here in the bottom, trying to go after the soldier that's there at the top.
Yeah, famous terrible dice rolls all over again. But you don't need them when you have numbers.
Yeah, when you got all these attacks and you got the feet going for you, he's gonna go down. And the Bloodseer gains some extra damage there.
Then, oh man, is things gonna frenzy next turn. Just look at all that beautiful red fury everywhere.
Well, I mean, that's going to happen on this, where it's feet turn, and you just might as well go, right? If you're going to pop a feat and not make attacks, what's the point, right? So did you not manage to kill off either of the ones in the zone there, or is there still going to be some more attacks on them?
There's still going to be some more attacks on them. I have a shaman who I brought mostly to extend the range of mortality. Comes in.
How big of a factor was mortality in this game?
Not as much as I'd like, but it is going to be a very, very big factor in the future. I mean, we're no longer getting free charges, so anything we can do to stack those damage buffs. So instead of being, 15s, they're now 17s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of that normal scornergy is kind of gone now in Mark III, so... Alright, so is it still... Yeah, you're still going here, and so... Xekaar trying to get in the right spot. Is this kind of like a Fate Walker thing going on right now?
Yeah, so he's got Fate Walker up, and my goal is to figure out where I'm going to keep him so that he's not dying to lots of attacks. But,
yeah, not dying would be good. Because how much are you camping right now?
He's camping either 1 or nothing.
Yeah, so I mean, you're really kind of banking on your feet keeping you safe, right?
Yeah. But, I mean, -3 to virtually all your offensive stats.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're pretty safe. And if he gets one huge spike, you got 1 transfer. So you should be okay.
Yeah. A lot of these are Mark rolling his frenzy checks.
Mm-hmm.
And the -3 gets him on 1 or 2 of them. But he actually manages to pass most of them.
Okay, well, I mean, that's not always the best thing either. Because if you pass all the frenzy tests, now you're just there with a bunch of fury you can't do anything with.
Yeah. Well, that's why you bring Shepherds, not Hellmouths.
Yeah, I guess so. So on his turn, he clearly wants to try and do as much as possible, but I don't know if there's very much he can do. Right now he's at the point where he's underneath your feet. There's not very much he can do to you. I don't think he can clear out the bottom zone. Do you think he was really trying to go after the top zone? Because you have 2 Cyclops up there. Is there any way at all he's going to be able to kill those 2, do you figure?
No, I don't think he's really going to be able to. His goal, like, I mean, he could easily dedicate Zuriel to go deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think he ends up. I don't think he ends up needing to, at this point. Some of the guys, or my guys, are obviously hurt. And that Hellmouth, I think I just have it just outside of my feet.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Was it worry maybe on this turn that he might try and kill those two and start the scoring game early, or again, Mullet Karn is just too close?
Mullet Karn is just too close. He's really concerned about my ability to just get into his caster. So you can see him kind of moving some stuff around, and then he goes to...
Still taking some shots at you with his bolt thrower here at the bottom. That's probably been plaguing you the entire game.
Yeah. Goes for a couple shots. This is where I have to spend one of my transfers to... I think I only have the one transfer. And he manages to get a shot onto Xekaar.
Well, I guess what he's probably going for there is that if he did get the doubles, the crit rather, and knocks you down, then all of a sudden the debuff to his rat doesn't really matter.
Oh, and his mat, right? So
yeah, absolutely, yeah. Depending whether he's charging in or just going up to do sprays.
Yeah.
So right away here, he's going to have to start going in with Zuriel. But I guess he's still making attacks at the top there against the Cyclopses. And I think you were telling me before that, I mean, on this turn, he tries attacking all over, but just doesn't really get anything done.
Yeah. Just, either his dice fail him, or, when everything's, effectively defense 16 and your mat is only 6, needing 10s to hit.
It's a pretty big deal. And I mean, it's a thing where, do you even want to bother? Because if you actually try and get any work done on your feet turn, you're just going to have everything frenzying next turn anyway.
Yeah, that is also a big consideration on this game, because everything is just so much beasts.
Mm-hmm. So it looks like Kryssa's trying to move back right now to not be within range of Mullet Karn. Were there any other spells that Warlock could be doing here to be helping out the Nephilim, or it's just an infantry caster, really?
I think she has insight.
Okay, so that's not a bad thing.
Again, so this is Zuriel moves up, does some sprays, hopes that he's going to be able to get a lot of work done here.
Mm-hmm. But again, I mean, it's just... Normally you might be a little bit worried here about Mullet Karn being charged in, but I mean, under the feet, Mullet Karn doesn't really have much to worry about, does he?
No, Mullet Karn with his intuition ability that he has similar to the Brute. I mean, you can force them to re-roll their attacks. It doesn't really come up.
Yeah, just because he just can't hit you with that mat of 3 or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Was he starting to get a little bit salty? I guess that's not a fair question to ask, but he's not here to defend himself. But...
No, Mark doesn't get salty. Minus a couple of times throwing dice, but that wasn't here.
I mean, I guess you get to experience that same thing that the Kryssa players get with the Denny 1, where their opponents, you need your own jar to collect tears in now. Soon, yeah. So right here, I mean, he's pretty much now getting to the end of his turn. Didn't really kill anything. And so with that, what's kind of your plan then to be coming back at him?
So my goal is to take off Fury from Mullet Karn and my Shaman, because I just have so much Fury everywhere. So, I mean...
Oh, sorry, to say one thing. He did kill off one of the Cyclopses from the top zone. So there really is just the one up there. But really, that's how powerful your feat was, that he only killed one Cyclops. But anyway, there. So, sorry, what was your plan going in this now?
So my plan is to definitely kill off Zuriel and then just kind of wean down his forces, because he doesn't have as much as I do. So, but I do have Fury everywhere. So yeah. I end up clearing it off of Mullet Karn, I end up clearing it off of the Shaman, and then going for clearing out my zone and taking out Zuriel. I mean, Karyssa's got, things like Cloak of Ash, which was on top of Zuriel for the first little bit. I believe it had to get dropped, And
sorry, what does Cloak of Ash do?
Cloak of Ash is, they gain Ashen Veil.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I thought she had Insight. Apparently she doesn't. She has Howling Flames, causes fire damage, Quickness, which is similar to Velocity from...
Okay, so it's more for her to be dodging around.
Yeah.
So at this point, it looks like you're still going through all your frenzies. One of your frenzies was able to kill off a soldier in your own zone, so I mean that's never a bad thing when frenzies are killing off models.
Yeah, just everything is so weakened, and so much stuff has healing on my side. Xekaar has psychosurgery. The pain givers obviously can heal. I chose stockpile as my objective so that it can also heal. So I mean, his damages are getting really mitigated by my ability just to kind of bring back all my guys.
So at this point here, actually, Xekaar is getting his hands dirty and going after Zerial. So I mean, is he a pretty good powerhouse in melee?
He hits fairly well. He's got 2 attacks that are Weapon Master and Reach. The big thing is Witch Hound. I'm putting Mortality up onto Zerial so that I can guarantee I can get that kill. Mm-hmm. And then I also put Fate Walker up on him so that I can get into my own zone and start scoring.
And I guess at this point here, too, where you know that Fury is starting to be an issue, the more work that Xekaar does, that means the less Fury you need to put up onto Malakarn.
Yeah. Xekaar is an amazing caster. There's nothing I don't like about him right now. Mm-hmm. Minus, of course, his googly hands with the flails.
I think they look cool. Little scorpion whips. I mean, they're not for everyone, but I think they look cool. So right now, you still need to clear out your own friendly zone. There still is the one other Bloodseer there. You have your Pain Givers coming in to do some healing and so forth. But you definitely want to kill that guy to try and get the scenario game going, because at this point, what was time kind of looking like?
We're around equal for time. I mean, I'm at 5 minutes. He's around 4. But I mean, the goal, I'm looking at this and going, neither of us are getting assassinations off. Gotta start going for the control. So, yeah, I managed to walk my shaman over and he takes out his Bloodseer, and then here's my Fate Walker where Malakarn moves over, and same thing with Xekaar.
So this is a pretty good spot for you, because I mean, this point here, it's now 1-0 for the scenario, and now, even though you're up on attrition, he's forced just to run guys into your zone just to make sure you're not scoring anymore. So he does have some other things like the Bolt Thrower down there, so it's not going to be too hard for him to do that, but then again, you don't want to be just throwing away a Bolt Thrower, right?
Yeah. Mark plays this really well, where he's moving stuff into my zone, mostly to eat up time on the clock.
Okay, yeah. Oh, just forcing you to take attacks on your time, pretty much.
So, yeah. So I end up getting shot by a Bolt Thrower and getting pushed back.
Those damn Bolt Throwers doing work this whole game, eh?
Yeah.
So one soldier, it looks like there, was able to get into the zone, so that's going to be stalling your scenario. And he's also killed your last Cyclops you had in his zone, so now Kryssa is going to be able to go into her own zone and make this 1-1. So now it's starting to be a little bit of a scenario race here and a race against time. So what are your kind of thoughts there? Is it going to be pretty easy for you to get something into his zone?
Well, so I start moving up my Pain Givers, because they're not on the very top, because they're not doing much. They can take lots of real estate up.
Yep.
And they're also really good at dealing with those tentacles, right? You just walk up, do one hit, auto plank. You don't have to worry about rolling dice, and just dies.
Mm-hmm. And so now you're coming up there with Xekaar, and he's there to do some nasty work again. So what's Xekaar trying to do to that Bolt Thrower? Is that mortality again?
Mortality again, yeah. Just getting some stuff in there, making a couple of attacks. I don't need things frenzying, so he can kind of deal with a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Now it looks like, is that a Savage that's going after him?
Yeah, it's one of the freshly healed Savages. Walks up there, has very little issues killing him.
Yeah, because it's already been damaged and already has mortality on it. Yeah. It's going to go down. I mean, that one there is not in the zone, so it's not a priority in that turns. But I mean, if you don't kill it now, it's just going to go in next turn. So
this is when we realize that my clock starts clicking. It's beeping, and so we decide, okay, we're gonna finish this up, and then I'll get something into his zone, and if he can't deal with it or get something counter into my zone, then the game is done.
Because pretty much of this, you're going to you're going to contest his zone, you're going to kill with Malakarn, we'll go into your zone, so it's going to go to 2-1, and really it's a thing where, if he can't get anything in, you're just going to start zipping ahead. And he's kind of running out of beasts here. But unfortunately, like we said before, there was that little mistake with the clock. I mean, and at this point, it's too late to fix, right? At this point, you're not going to change and say like, oh, we'll add 5 minutes and -5 for yours. You know, it's just too late.
Yeah, it's funny. We had been kind of having a bit of a banter back and forth before this about Cyclops seeing into the future, and when we noticed the clock mistake, we go. I'm like, well, you're gonna clock me now?
Yeah, and kind of almost foresaw your own downfall. So there he is going to get a guy into your zone. So that's going to kind of contest it. So this one's going to end on Death Clock, but definitely a very interesting game. So Dorian, thanks for playing and thanks for doing this commentary with me. And let's go and jump to the post-game talks. All right, so the game just ended. What are you guys' thoughts?
Oh boy. It was not a good game.
It was not a good game.
No, we're both played kind of sloppy, and it was interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right away when you guys told me you guys are going to be doing a, Cyclops versus Nephilim battle, it was not going to be your typical game, right?
No,
Cyclops are better.
No, they're not. They lost. They can't be better.
How many Nephilim do you have left? 2.
3. Yeah. They won, though.
So, what was your game plan going in with the Nephilim? Was it assassination, scenario, attrition?
Attrition, definitely.
Attrition,
especially
for sure.
with double Hellmouth. Definitely.
Yeah. Mark broke the spirit of the challenge.
You had 2 units. I brought
2 support units, man.
They're not even support units.
That's what they
They're
are.
fury management and they're an offensive multiplier.
Which is...
And they're killing tentacles, so they're offensive.
So
required.
How about on the scoring side? What was yours going in?
My entire goal was attrition. Just to eat through his stuff so that he had nothing to come back at me with. And it was working.
It was
very
working.
well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, your feet's a huge punch in the ass.
Yeah. What does the feet do? So -3 to strength, mat, rat, and threshold. So my entire goal was to get everything up really quickly.
And then behind the feet.
Yeah.
I thought you
Is it an aura or a pulse?
Aura.
While within?
Yeah. However, we were both playing very cowardly,
Yes.
so it's like, okay, well then there's no point in me using my feet right away. Might as well try to kill things with my 2 guns that are slightly better than yours.
No way, my guns are way better. Range 14, power 14, I push D3 and I crit knockdown.
Okay, range 14.
Yep.
I can do 14 points of damage. If I stand still, I ignore stealth.
Okay, that doesn't do anything here. But your power what on your gun?
Goes 12, 13, 14 on big bases.
Right, but you have 1 big base, your power 13. So I have 1 more power.
No, it's targeting big bases.
Yeah.
Yeah, targeting large.
Yeah, so...
He's all medium.
Yeah, I'm all medium except for Zuriel.
Yeah, so...
And
Zero on your helmet.
So it's...
Which, whatever.
It's 13.
So you're 13 and...
7 points for my guns versus...
Your range guy's only 7 points?
Yeah.
Oh shit, mine's 11.
So let's talk about the new casters, because you guys brought in both new warlocks as well, which is awesome. So how about new Mrs. Whips here, or Mr. Whips?
Mr. Whips is pretty awesome.
He's really good.
He's got lots of things he can do, and it doesn't. You don't feel like you're wasting any of your activations, right? So if he's too far away from an enemy to get stuff into, he can easily just go, okay, well I'm going to enrage this guy, so that you don't have to worry about order of activations as much.
Mm-hmm.
His feet really dead solid against hordes and against. Actually everything, because...
Just everything, yeah.
Yeah, -3 is a huge drop in stats and makes virtually...
He's definitely an anti-hordes caster.
Yeah, and mortality is really good, and if you bring a shaman with it, then it's... Bring a shaman, a mullet card, and it's 12 inches, and you can back away 5.
Yeah.
And how about the new Legion warlock?
She's not a beast caster at all.
No, not her jam.
The only thing that she had going for is the feet, which is... It's really good, but I used it horribly.
Well, again, that was one of those things where we're both playing very cowardly. We're like super far in the back, so I'm not giving you anything to feed on.
No, that's exactly it. Well, the feed is as long as I'm in my control. So with the Hellmouth, you drag it to me, and the Hellmouth gets the boost. So power 18 on that is pretty sick.
So we played with a little bit terrain heavy. Do you guys feel the terrain played a big part of this?
It did.
Yeah?
You think so?
I think so. I was having a hard, you hid behind the building the entire time with your caster, and I was hoping that, okay, kill a couple of guys, maybe get a couple of shots into her, things like that, stuff to make you kind of nervous, or Malakkarn just, getting to her,
Did what Malakkarn did.
and you're like, nope, building, no,
I was like, think about it.
no, and it almost caused, you almost didn't get your feet onto
The Hellmouth, yeah.
the Hellmouth because you're trying to use terrain in a...
Defensively. Well, I would have been fine because she was pretty far over. I had the other soldier here.
I think that was the issue. The other soldier just kind of got in the way.
Yeah, if the soldier wasn't there, I wouldn't have had to finagle with that.
All right, guys. Well, there's the last game of Season 3 of War Machine Wednesday. Thanks for playing, and thanks for watching. Bye. Hey there, if you liked watching this video, please go down and give it a like down below you here. And if you have any concerns or questions or comments, please put those in the comment section as well. The best way for me to give you what you want to see is if you tell me what you like seeing and what you don't like seeing. So otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you later.